Hello people, I hope you're fine. Today we are in the Midnight Stories, English stories for us. And I'm welcoming you to this channel. If you're not subscribed, consider subscribing to it. Our story today is called The Wicked Witch of Ewu-Ale Village. It's from the African culture. In Ewu-Ale village, full of coconuts and yams, stood a church like no other. The church, built from red brick and whitewashed walls, sat atop a small hill. It was the pride of the villagers, towering over their simple thatched houses like a symbol of hope. Its tall steeple pointed towards the heavens, and on Sundays the sound of the bell ringing echoed through the valley, inviting all who lived in Ewu-Ale to come and worship. But one Sunday, something strange happened in that church. Her name was Mama Amina, and to the people of Ewu-Ale, she was a symbol of godliness. A woman who wore flowing white robes, her hands always clasped in prayer. She had the kind of face that was always calm, her smile soft, and her eyes as innocent as the doves. The villagers believed her to be a servant of God. She had joined the church many years ago and served as one of the choir leaders. Mama Amina would stand at the front, leading hymns, her voice a melody that seemed to bring the heavens down to earth. But Mama Amina had a secret darker than the night. Though she appeared to be a devoted woman of faith, she was no saint. Beneath her heavenly appearance, she was a witch. Now, just any witch, not just any witch, but one with powers so great she could make storms appear from the clear skies, cause crops to wither, and even manipulate people's hearts. She used the church for her own evil purposes. It was said that on quiet nights, when the last of the villagers had gone to sleep, Mama Amina would sneak into the church basement. There, under the dim glow of the single candle, she would chant words in a strange tongue, calling on spirits that no one dared speak of. These spirits didn't bring peace. They brought mischief, illness, and destruction. In exchange for her powers, Mama Amina made promises. Promises of pain and suffering to those who crossed her path. She wasn't just using witchcraft for her own gain. She was using it to control the people of Ewu-Ale. No one suspected a thing, for Mama Amina was so skillful at playing her role. She was a dual player. She would wear long flowing white dresses to church, always with her hair neatly wrapped in a cloth. Every Sunday, she would take her seat in the front row, next to her husband, Papa Jide, a strong and quiet man who worked as the village blacksmith. His large calloused hands were the only sign of the hard work he did every day. Papa Jide had no idea that his wife, the woman he trusted with his life, was a witch. But there was one person who wasn't fooled by Mama Amina's act, Sister Ngechi. Sister Ngechi was a young woman, only 20, with a sharp mind and a spirit that could never be broken. She had recently moved to Ewu-Ale from the neighboring village, seeking a fresh start. She was full of life, always wearing brightly colored dresses with matching headscarves, her hair braided in neat rows that fell like the crown on her head. Sister Ngechi was known for her kindness and honesty, and she quickly became a close friend to many in the village, including Mama Amina. However, there was something about Mama Amina that didn't sit right with her. Something was off. One fateful Sunday, As the church service was in full swing, Sister Ngechi had a feeling in her gut. She had heard whispers from the elders talking about strange happenings in the village. Cattle dying without reason, children falling sick with no cure in sight, and crops failing despite the rains. It didn't make sense to her. What was happening to Ewu-Ale? Who was behind it all? That Sunday, while the choir sang hymns, Sister Ngechi noticed something unusual. Mama Amina, who always sat in the front pew, seemed to be looking at something on the floor, a small smile playing on her lips. Sister Ngechi, ever watchful, followed her gaze. It was a small bag, tucked under the pew, half hidden from the rest of the congregation. But what caught Sister Ngechi's attention wasn't the bag. It was the movements coming from it. A snake. Sister Ngechi's heart skipped a bit. She knew that no one in Ewu-Ale had ever seen a snake inside the church. This was no ordinary snake. It was moving with purpose, slithering in a way that suggested it was under some kind of control. Sister Ngechi's instincts kicked in. She needed to know what was going on. Without making a sound, she slipped out of the church and waited outside, her eyes scanning for any sign of Mama Amina. The sun was setting as Mama Amina finally left the church, her long robes flowing behind her like the wings of a ghost. Sister Ngechi followed her from a distance, carefully, not to be seen. Mama Amina made her way to the back of the church and disappeared into a small hidden door that led down to the basement. It was then that Sister Ngechi knew she had to act. The next day, while everyone in the village was busy with their daily routines, Sister Ngechi found her way into the church basement. The air was thick with dust, and the light came from a flickering candle. She tiptoed down the wooden stairs, her breath shallow. As she reached the bottom, she saw the witch. Mama Amina was standing in front of a small altar, her hands raised high, chanting in that strange tongue. A circle of black candles surrounded her, and in the center of the altar was a large stone bowl filled with what looked like the ashes of burnt offerings. The room was thick with dark energy, and Sister Ngechi felt the hairs of the back of her neck stand up. She couldn't wait any longer. Without thinking, she stepped forward, causing a creaking noise on the floor. The room, Mama Amina spun around, her face twisted with surprise and rage. Her eyes were no longer kind but cold and filled with malice. "What are you doing here?" she hissed. Sister Ngechi stood her ground. "I know who you are, Mama Amina. You are not a servant of God. You are not a servant of the Lord. You are a witch, and your evil has cursed this village. I'll not let you harm us anymore." For a moment, there was silence. Then Mama Lima laughed a cruel and hollow sound. "You think you can stop me? I have the power to control everything here. Do you really believe you can defeat me?" But Sister Ngechi, undeterred, reached into her bag and pulled out the small wooden cross that her grandmother had given her before she left her village. Holding it high, she stepped toward Mama Amina, her voice strong. I believe in the power of God, and I believe in the truth. You will be exposed for who you are. The cross began to glow, and the basement seemed to shake with the force of divine energy. Mama Amina screamed, her body writhing as if it was being burned by the light. The dark powers that had once protected her were now fading, and in their place was the truth. Sister Ngechi continued to speak words of prayer, and slowly Mama Amina's powers were broken. The witch fell to the ground, defeated, and as she did, the snakes and evil spirits that had surrounded her disappeared into the shadows. The villagers who had gathered around witnessed the event. They rushed in as the church bell rang. Mama Amina was revealed for the monster she truly was, and Ewu-Ale was free from her curse. From that day on, Sister Ngechi became the heroine in the village. And though Mama Amina was never seen again, the memory of her dark deeds would be passed down from generation to generation, a lesson that sometimes evil can hide in the most unexpected places. But with truth and faith, even the most powerful of witches can be unmasked. And as for Sister Ngechi, she continued to serve in the church, but now her role was clear: to protect her people, to stand firm in the light, and to never be afraid of the face of darkness. I hope you enjoyed my story. I've not had enough time to create more stories, but I hope you'll continue listening. Next story will be the street vendor and her secret. Can you imagine what we'll have? Bye bye for now.